The silver spoon slipped from her trembling hand and clattered against the marble floor. Every head in the restaurant turned. Did you just ask me for financial advice? The white billionaire, Daniel Hargrove, said with a smirk. His laughter was loud enough to echo. Across from him stood Maya, a young black waitress in a faded gray uniform. Her hands were steady, her eyes calm. Daniel leaned back, wiping his mouth with his napkin. That's cute. Tell me, sweetheart, do they teach finance at the diner now? A few of his guests chuckled. Maya didn't. Her voice was soft, but carried like a blade through the laughter. Actually, sir, she said, I could, but I doubt you'd understand how wealth really works. The billionaire's smile faltered. He had no idea that before the night was over, this waitress would change his life and expose a truth money could never buy. Daniel Hargrove wasn't used to being challenged, especially not by a waitress. He was celebrating his latest business victory at the Velvet Spoon, a luxury restaurant he practically owned through his investments. Reporters were outside, friends were drinking to his financial genius, and he loved every second of it. Until Maya spoke. She had been assigned to his table after the original waiter called in sick. She moved gracefully, speaking politely, never once reacting to the arrogant remarks tossed her way. But when Daniel jokingly asked her for financial tips, she had answered with quiet confidence. Now the table had gone silent. Daniel raised an eyebrow. Enlighten me, Miss Maya, she said. Just Maya. Well, Maya, what do you think I don't understand? She looked him straight in the eyes. That money isn't wealth. It's a mirror. It shows who you are, just bigger. A murmur spread around the table. One guest whispered, bold words for someone earning tips. Daniel smiled thinly. That's philosophy, not finance. Then maybe you've been studying the wrong thing, she replied. For a moment, no one breathed. The billionaire's jaw tightened, but before he could answer, another man approached Tom, his business partner. Daniel, Tom said under his breath. Let it go. You're arguing with a waitress? But Daniel's pride wouldn't let him. He gestured for her to continue. All right, philosopher, if you're so wise, tell me, what would you invest in? Maya smiled faintly. People, she said. They give the best returns. The men at the table laughed. Daniel shook his head, amused but irritated. And how exactly does one invest in people? He mocked. By seeing them, she said simply. By not assuming their worth based on what they wear or serve. Her tone wasn't angry, it was heartbreakingly calm. Daniel turned away, dismissing her with a wave. You can clear the table now. As she walked off, one of the guests whispered, she's brave. I'll give her that. Another added, or stupid. But Daniel couldn't shake the unease in his chest. Her words had landed somewhere he didn't like. 2 weeks later, Daniel walked into his corporate office, furious. His company's biggest deal had collapsed overnight. His partner, Tom, had liquidated everything and disappeared. Millions lost. Investors panicking.com. In the chaos, Daniel fired half his staff and closed his doors to the press. By the third week, he was alone in his penthouse, staring at city lights that no longer comforted him. And that's when he saw her again. Through the window of a small cafe across the street, Maya sat at a corner table, helping a group of young people fill out forms. Their clothes were worn, their faces tired, but they were smiling. Something about that warmth pulled him in. He crossed the street quietly and stepped inside. She looked up, startled. Mr. Hargrove, he managed a weak smile. You remember me? It's hard to forget someone who laughs that loud, she said softly, then motioned for him to sit. He glanced around. What is this place? She folded her hands. A community fund. We help underpaid workers manage debt, start small savings plans, even open micro business. Daniel frowned. You run this? With a few others, she said. I used to be one of them. Worked 3 jobs. No insurance, no savings. Until someone helped me learn what real wealth means. He looked down. And what's that? Maya smiled. The ability to help someone else stand when they can't. For the first time in years, Daniel felt his chest tighten. He had spent his life collecting buildings and stocks, but he couldn't remember the last time he had helped anyone without a contract attached. He stared at the table of young workers and murmured, I lost everything last week. Maya nodded. No, you lost numbers. That's not the same thing. The words hit him harder than the loss itself. Days passed, and Daniel kept returning to the cafe. At first, he said he wanted to learn, but slowly, it became something else. He helped one of the teens write a business plan for a food truck. He bought used laptops for Maya's workshops. He even learned how to manage the books without focusing on profit margins. One evening, as they were closing up, he asked, why did you talk back to me that night? You could have lost your job. Maya smiled gently. Because sometimes people need to be reminded that power isn't permanent. And because I saw something in you, a man who still wanted to do good, even if he'd forgotten how. He looked at her for a long time before whispering, "Thank you for not walking away." She shrugged. "You'd have done the same." Daniel laughed quietly. "I wouldn't have, but maybe now, I will." Months later, headlines appeared. Billionaire turns loss into hope. Funds program for low-income entrepreneurs. But Daniel didn't care about the praise. He stood outside the cafe, watching people enter, and said quietly, "Maya was right. Money is a mirror. I just finally like what I see in it. True wealth isn't measured in dollars. It's in the lives you lift."